once they were seventh graders, like there was like a buzz in the community, like, hey, this is a good group of kids. And I go to their first seventh grade game. I'm looking around. I'm like, well, where's the good players? You know, like I don't see any because they're just like look like normal kids. They're not super tall. They're not super athletic. They're not big. They're not extra strong. And then once they start playing, you're like, oh, okay, I get it.
My next guest is fresh off an undefeated basketball season and a 6A state championship with Plano East. But his story is so much more than one magical season. I will introduce you to Coach Matt Wester right after this.
Hi, listeners. This is Glenn West, the Assistant Executive Director of Texas High School Coaches Association. It's time to register for coaching school. This year's coaching school will be held in San Antonio, July 21st through the 23rd. And in addition to the 250 lecture hours that we offer, we'll be adding a second turf field that will allow soccer, baseball, and softball demos. Tennis, aquatic, and golf will be off-site for one day of exhibits as well. Basketball court will be moved from a half court to a full court. You're all not going to want to miss this. You can find information of coaching school and hotels and membership renewal on our website at thsca.com.
Did you know that you can use podcasting to not only share the great news about your athletes and your programs, but as a fundraiser for your booster club? Yes, Lone Star Gridiron produced the 5th podcast in history and has been doing it nearly 20 years. We are expanding now to do shows outside of football. So whatever your sport, reach out to us at 713-269-4620, and we'll discuss how you can use this amazing tool to supercharge your program. And the best part, we do all the heavy lifting. Text your name and school to 713-269-4620. All right, everybody join me in welcoming Coach Matt Wester to the show. Coach, how are things today?
Thank you. We're things are great. I mean, we're still basking in the state championship and celebrating these kids, and then we're getting ready for next year all at the same time. So it's like the best of this, best of planning ahead for the future, and then still kind of celebrating the state championship.
I love that, and let me say congratulations on that. Before we will get into that, but I just have to start with congratulations.
Thank you. It's a dream come true for sure.
I love it. So let's back up. Tell me where you grew up and how you got involved in sports in particular.
Thank you. I'm from Lubbock, Texas, and so I just grew up like every other kid in the '90s, playing sports in the street and at the park until the sun went down and you had to come home. And so I had just a tremendous experience in high school basketball. Went to a little school called Trinity Christian, and Todd Duncan was my coach, and thought he was the best coach in the world, and had like the best experience in the world. And I had a brother that went to Monterey High School and played football, and a brother went to Coronado High School and played football. And so it was interesting when I got into college to realize that not everybody had the best experience in the world. Like some people did, and then some people had terrible experiences. And my brothers had different experiences as well at the same time at different schools. And I realized, like, hey, that's I think I want to be a part of the solution and providing, these amazing experiences in high school sports. And that's kind of when I decided to jump back, be a high school coach. And since I'd gone to TAP school and my coach was still there, he let me get started in college and volunteer coaching in like 2004 and 2005, 2003, 2004, 2005, and really get my feet wet before I'd even graduated.
Excellent. And I want to back up. What position did you play, and how'd your teams do?
In high school, I was the biggest kid on the team, but I was about 6'4", so I wasn't a big post. I shot the ball, so really more today would be like a 4. And then we had a good team. We won 32 in the TAPS 4A state champion my junior year, and my senior year we won 29 games and lost in the Final Four. But we had a good team that honestly played a lot like the Plano East Panthers from the last couple of years, where we were all about the same size and we shot the ball well.
Cool. And then you said you learned early on you wanted to go into coaching. Was that in high school or when you got to college you figured that out?
It was in college. And so I was just got the world opened up a little bit, and I got to see other people having different experiences, and not everybody loved their coach like a father the way I did, and not everybody had great experiences. And I kind of thought I would go into business, and all of this kind of happened. I was, taking college courses, and I took all my prereqs, and they're like, Matt, you gotta pick a major. So I think I want to. He said, you can pick a major or take a year off. So I said, I think I want to be a coach because I want to be like the good coaches that I had.
Yeah. And what was before you learned about coaching, what was your first gut instinct of what made a coach a good coach versus just somebody rolling the ball out?
Well, Coach Duncan had expertise that other coaches didn't, and we always felt like when we went into a game that we had we're handicapped. Maybe we had 15 or 20 points on the other team just because of the coach we had. We knew we didn't know a lot about basketball, but we knew he did. And then he was obviously very demanding and got a lot out of us. And so he was able to take us places we hadn't been before. And then it was kind of exciting knowing that you had a secret weapon of a coach with a lot of expertise.
No doubt. And then talk to me about how you actually got into the coaching game. Where'd you start out?
Yeah, so that was in college, and I was a student at Texas Tech, and I was cutting grass to pay our bills. My wife and I got married young, so we were trying to pay our bills, and I would, go to class, cut grass, and then I would drive over to Trinity and volunteer, and then I would go cut some more grass and then go study for the next day. So I kind of did it as a volunteer for a while, and then once my wife and I both graduated college, we moved to the DFW, and so because there are a lot of opportunities here, and I moved here for an opportunity to coach that kind of fell apart as soon as I got here. So the job fell through after I already moved, and so I ended up doing my student teaching that year. It's just kind of interesting how God orchestrates things, but ended up doing my student teaching, which was not what I was planning on doing. I was planning on working first, and I did it for a coach named Rod Wright, who was a really good coach at Berkner. In that year, I got to help them as well. So I volunteered for 3 years, and the 2 years at Trinity, we went to the state championship game, and then with Rod Wright, we went to the UIL 5A Final Four that year, and got to really volunteered under excellent coaches. And I would call Rod and Todd Duncan two of the biggest mentors, especially professionally, I've ever had. I still call them, 20 years later for advice, and they're still coaching me up. So I eventually got hired as a junior high teacher, a junior high basketball coach, which was more fun than I ever thought I could have. I was just happy they're paying me to teach and coach and be with kids and have fun. I thought that work was not supposed to be fun. And then my first year as a junior high coach, I was working at Rice Middle School in Plano, and I was driving up and volunteering again with the senior high at Plano. And Tom Inman was the coach there, and he had just won the state championship the year before. They had beaten us at Berkner, actually, and won it. And, just had a blast. And right when the school year ended, he called me and he's like, "Hey, I have this interview." Tom Inman called. He's like, "I got you set up with an interview. I need you to go to it." And I was like, "Well, I've had a lot of, we had just moved and had a job fall through, and I was finally like settled in a good spot. I didn't know if I wanted it." And then I went to the interview, and I just loved the guy that interviewed me, and it was at Naaman Forest, and it's for Jeff Clarkson, and he was the head coach there. And I realized that, like, man, this staff would be real, like, we're all like the same age, same core values, same stage of life. And it just kind of made sense. And so I went, my first high school job where they paid me to be like on the staff was at Naaman Forest, and for Jeff Clarkson, and we were there for 5 years. I was with him for 5 years. In that fifth year, we made the playoffs the last 4 years. We won 2 district championships, and that last year we went to the Final Four again in Austin. We lost to the Marcus Smart Phil Forte teams at Flower Mound Marcus. And Jeff had been he was an alumnus of Plano East, and it just so happened that the year we go to the Final Four, the Plano East job opens, and everything just worked out perfectly for him to move down the street to his alma mater, and I got to come in as a varsity assistant, and there was just an incredibly talented group of kids here when we got here. We won one district, made it to the regional tournament. We had 30 wins that year. I think we ended up having 7 college basketball players on that team and an 8th that played college football. And so I did 6 years as his assistant, and he had the chance to be the head coach at Prestonwood, which was really just a perfect situation for his family, for his kids and his wife, and it just worked out. And so he took that job, and I was fortunate enough to be promoted from varsity assistant to head coach June 13th of 2018. So we didn't have a lot of talent at that time, and we did the best we could, but we won a few games. We improved every year. We went from 10 wins to 16 wins to eventually 24 wins, and then a year ago 31 wins, and this year we got to 40 wins and won state championship. So I've done 6 here as the assistant and then 6 as the head coach.
Wow. It seems like you've been involved with championship teams from the time you were playing. Everyone you're talking about is either in the finals or winning a championship. And when you came there, you said, that as an assistant, you had a 30-win team. What's the difference between a 30-win team and a 40-win team? When did you know, hey, this is a special team?
So when did I know this was a special team? That's a great question. I remember my last year as an assistant, Rodney Belcher. I saw him at a spring league. I was just an assistant, and I think he was the girls' coach at Plano at that time. And he said, "Hey, coach, y'all are going to have some good players here in a few years. They're all 6th graders playing at the PSA in Murphy." And I was like, okay, like, that's cool. I don't even know what that means. And then, when they became, I got the head coaching job right after that. And then once they were 7th graders, like, there was like a buzz in the community, like, hey, this is a good group of kids. And I go to their first 7th grade game. I'm looking around. I'm like, well, where's the good players? I don't see any. Because they're just look like normal kids. They're not super tall. They're not super athletic. They're not big. They're not extra strong. And then once they start playing, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. It's the way they play. They play together, and they play hard, and they're competitive, and they play smart. And that's really the way this group has always played. And like the way they play the game is what separates them from like other great teams we've had, because they are best friends that love each other, and they play for each other. And it's like the most together group of kids I've ever been around, or a team I've ever been around. Like there's not an oddball in the locker room. There's not an outcast. They argue like brothers do, but they don't, they really just love each other. And when you watch them play, you can see it because of the way they pass the ball, the way they help each other up, the way they sacrifice for each other. Like if you watch them play a lot, you'd probably be nodding your head. It's like, yeah, they just play differently. They play harder on defense. They share the ball more, and they're like celebrate each other's success. It's just the most cohesive group of kids I've ever been around.
Nice. I think Plano East is like a case study for the importance and the value of community-based education and sports because, like you said, from sixth grade on, these kids have been growing together, playing together. The community's built around it. Talk about the importance of that, not having transfer portals and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, we really don't see this much anymore. I mean, I think we would all like to have incredible high major kids, Power 5 kid that can come in and like be the best player in the gym every single night. And like we've had that before, and that's been awesome. But we don't have that now. And I love I love the fact that we were able to do it without that. We were able to do it with a group of kids from the local neighborhood who weren't better than the guy next to them. And because there's been, many years where it hasn't been that way, where it's like, oh, this great player transferred in, and now they're going to win because they have the best player. And I'm glad that we were able to do that, like, for our community and do that for our state, because now I would hope there's a lot of people watching and saying, I may not have the Power 5 kid, or two of them, and I may not be getting transfers, but we can win it too. Because look what they did, and I think I hope it gives a lot of people hope that they can accomplish something great working together the way we did. Because it just wouldn't be the same if we were a good team and we took a great transfer and we won it still. It just wouldn't be the same as it is now.
And you started off the interview by talking about an average coach versus a great coach. Even though these kids and the community saw it at a very early age, it's important that a good coach is there to nurture that and to make it actually a flower into what it became. Talk about the importance of that.
Sure. No, I mean, I don't know. Even if you have a great team, I think there's always room to improve, and there's always coaching to be done. So, like I've noticed now that we're getting a new group of kids that we're coaching, and there's plenty of coaching, but like we're coaching different things. We're not quite at the same level we were 2 months ago because we have different players. But even with like a great team like ours, you still like what we did was hard, and we're still fighting selfish. We still fight the pull to do something selfish, or the pull to like withdraw, or the pull to like have a bad day. And it's really like the job of the coach to protect your culture, and the job of the coach to like set the standard and hold people to that standard, because they're going to meet whatever standard you set for them. And if you set it lower, that's where they're going to meet you as well. So I don't think it matters how much talent or how good your team is. It's the coach's job to be demanding and to have high expectations and push the kids to meet those expectations.
Nice. And you've also talked about teamwork quite a bit, and this is my own personal bias. You don't have to buy into it if you don't. I think the women's game in college is better than the men's game just because there's not so much selfishness. There's a lot of passing. There's a lot more teamwork. And is that what you've seen with this Plano East team, that it was more teamwork than, highlight reels?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We really didn't dunk the ball much this year, and if you like our stats are not overwhelming. They're very underwhelming. And obviously we still had a great team, but we did it as a team. So like if you look at our record board, we kind of made history. Like we did the first team in school history to win a state championship in any sport, and we're the first 6A team to go undefeated. but we didn't touch the individual awards. Like the individual records are all going to stay the same, and it's the team awards that are going to change. So, I mean, I don't think anyone would trade in their state championship medal for a 3-point percentage record at Plano East.
Yeah.
You know, I think that they would all prefer to be a part of something better than just have individual records.
So now, if you had somebody saying, "Well, okay, that's fine and good, but what about getting these kids scholarships?" How has that? I guess what's been the reaction from colleges looking at these kids? Are they seeing the value of that teamwork, or are they saying, "No, we're looking for some, behind the back dunk"?
Yeah, so there's really a couple discussions there. One is like the impact of the portal, because most of what, like the number one thing that's winning today in college basketball is age. Like if you have the oldest team, the oldest team typically wins the conference or has a lot of success, and so that's affected high school kids in a big way. And then I found with college coaches that are recruiting or trying to recruit or learn about our players that it's kind of half and half. Some kids, some of them are looking for winners. Like I want to. They'll say, "What are his stats?" And I'll say, "Well, he won 90 games in 3 years, or 95 games in 3 years." And I'll go, "That's really good." And then others will want to know, like, "Oh, I don't know, he doesn't shoot the ball as well as I want him to shoot it." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, he won 95 games." And they're like, "Well, so it's about half and half." So of guys that are willing to recruit high school kids, some of them value winning, more like proven winner, and some of them value like measurables.
And I guess that's something you learn as a coach, which coaches are looking for which, so you can help kind of direct.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, we would love to have a program where a coach knows if I get a kid from his program, he's going to know how to play basketball, he's going to be a winner, he's going to be tough. And, like if you got a kid that played all the way through Michigan State, you would know he's going to be tough. If you had a kid that played all the way for Coach Sampson at Houston, you would know that kid can rebound, that kid can play defense. And we would like to have a program like that where they know what they're going to get when they come to they get one of our kids. And right now, if you get one of our kids, he may not be the tallest, he may not be the best shooter in the state of Texas. We have some good shooters, but may not be the best. But they're winners, and they're willing to sacrifice for the good of the team. And then they're pretty good basketball players too.
And you mentioned stats. One of the trends that has been a lot of buzz lately has been where people are shooting. There were tons of mid-range jumpers forever, but now it's all dunks or 3-point shots. Have you seen that at the high school level too?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because I've noticed that some teams just shoot a lot more threes, and it in the NBA it's the most, like, there are certain threes that are more like the free throw is the most efficient shot. And then like a corner three is the most efficient, and then so that's kind of trickling down. So you have you saw a kid from Oakland. He took 23s in a game the other day. Like my team never takes 23s altogether, but so that is absolutely trickling down. I would say that we're more traditional. Like I have all the analytics, and I just want them to take the shots that are most likely to score. And so, like, we have our own system, but, free throws and then, like, shots that you never miss, like at the basket, we want those more than anything. And the way, if you watched us play this year a lot, you would see, like, when we kind of had our foot on their throats and we were, like, really trying to put them away, we would nothing but layups, because we felt like layups would take the wind out of their sails, and I think it worked out that way as well. We had certain actions that we would call to get layups and nothing else at like midway through the third quarter or early fourth quarter, and I think it worked.
Yeah, I've also seen another stat, and I'll probably get the numbers wrong, but it was something like the first 15 to 18 minutes determines the outcome of the majority of basketball games. Have you seen that importance on a fast start?
But Bobby Knight always said it was the first 5 minutes after halftime, and then obviously the way you start matters. But man, I don't really have any strong convictions on that. I know this year we started really well, and we won a lot of games. I think it was like the first 18 games of the year. We made the other coach called a timeout in the first 2 or 3 minutes because we got like a quick start on them. So we always wanted the other coach to call the first timeout, and we wanted him to call it quickly because they had to make an adjustment type of a thing. But I don't know if it means you're going to win if you start well.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. I was going to say, whether it's basketball, football, you name it, I've always believed is the team that takes the first time out is usually the team that loses. So does that play into coaches' heads as far as the chess match of it?
Yeah, I'm sure it does. I mean, we told our kids that, and we let the other team make the first time out, and we used it that way. But, and then when we needed to take the first time out, we would spin it and say, well, we're the ones making the adjustment. We're going to have the advantage. I think whichever one, a good coach can spin it to make their team believe that they have the advantage. I had a good team that could make a lot of adjustments on the fly, and they had a lot of experience, and I could tell them what to do, and they could do it. So I didn't need a lot of timeouts to like settle them down and get them composed and talk through something they weren't already seeing on the court. They couldn't see on the court. So I think I just had a unique team where I didn't need a lot of early timeouts either.
Yeah. I just say I love the fact that you're a stats nerd too. So I have another stats question. Everybody, says, hey, how many points per game a kid makes, how many points your team scores, all those are important. What other numbers, like maybe turnover differentials, things like that, what other numbers do you see are like these are the gold standard numbers?
I love field goal percentage. As you're taking shots that go in, like that's really important. I think the most important one is wins. DJ Hall is 40-0 as a starter. What else do you need to know? And he's our MVP. But I also think assists, like the way we want to play, we look at rebounds and assists, and those. Like if we're rebounding well and we're getting assists, then we're playing the way we want to play. And I know like the good Golden State Warriors teams that were winning back-to-back championships, they always counted passes. We don't really have the staff to count passes, but we do want to pass the ball more than the other teams. And then like the late 2000 Spurs teams, they always pass the ball more than everybody in the NBA. We kind of want to play like them, so we want to pass the ball and get more assists, and then we want to rebound well.
And I'll take it back to coaching. I guess talk about basketball's involvement with the Coaches Association and how that has grown in importance with the organization.
I love the associations because they group us together. My classroom is like not close to, it's in a hallway not close to any other, it's in the basement underneath the gym. And I get to see my assistants at lunch, and then we're just kind of on an island by ourselves most of the day. And then when you get together, it's a great opportunity to learn and learn from each other and grow the game, and networking opportunities. And then, as you know, like in a big district, like ours in Plano ISD, there's 50,000 kids. We're 12,000 employees. Like my voice isn't heard. Most of ours aren't. But then when we group together, we can say, hey, this is the voice of X number of coaches or X number of teachers, and this is what we want. And this is what we think would be best for the school or for the game. So I love that it's a good avenue to learn and grow, and I love that it's an avenue to like have a shared voice together.
Excellent. Tell me about the team. What percentage of your core is graduating?
So this year we had 14 players, and we knew from the very beginning we would have a lot of good players, and we'd have a big senior class because, I mean, realistically, there was really like in junior high, like 18 good junior high kids where you would say, oh, that kid can be a varsity player. And then it ended up, 5 years later at the end of the day being 14 kids, 11 of them were seniors. And so we had a 9-man rotation. Five of them were not in that rotation. My 6th man led us. He was third in minutes on our team, and our 7th man played a big role as well. Our eighth man did. Our 9th man came in twice a game for a few minutes. He played less than 10 minutes, and of those 9, 8 of them are going to graduate. So we talked about the transfer portal earlier and having older teams. Like we had the older team this year, and we won 40 games with the oldest team. So what I love about my group coming back next year is the one guy that was in the rotation and coming back, he won 5 MVP awards, like district MVP, tournament MVPs, Final Four MVP, and he's a legitimate Division I player. He's one of the most skilled players I've ever been around. And the 2 kids that were not in the rotation but are coming back have a ton of talent. And then my JV, which was comprised of mostly freshmen, won, I think, 24 games in a row, won all 3 of their tournaments, and played like freshmen sometimes, but they took on a lot of our DNA. So I look forward to like trying to do it again next year, but like do it a different way. Maybe with one, maybe we won't have the most assists because we have a pretty talented player that we want the ball in his hands a lot, and then some young athletic guys around him. But I look forward to like really building that winning DNA and trying to do it a little different way next year.
Yeah, and you talk about winning DNA. Regardless of the sport, we all know there are programs that just keep winning. And, whether you call it culture or you call it something else, something gets into the kids and they take it past individual talent, turn it into a team identity. How do you keep that going with, a largely new team every year?
Yeah, I know how I'm going to try to do it. And if you look back at Plano East, like we've had a lot of basketball success. The school's 40 years old, and we've had 30 years of success. And it kind of started with Jimmy King in 91. He was player of the year in the state of Texas, his first McDonald's All-American, got to be part of got the Fab Five at Michigan, the only Plano kid to ever get drafted. And so when he won his team won the first playoff game in school history. And so there's story after story of like, you should have been there. There was a lot of energy and buzz in the room when he was in the whole side of town and in the gym. And so like the only other Plano East team to ever make it to a championship was the 94 team. And they were all freshmen when he was doing that. And so they got to watch and be inspired by it, and became like basketball fanatics from him. And then the 94 team had, I guess, some kids that were in the 98 group who were freshmen. They were in the drum watching them play in the Final Four. And there's several kids from that team who are coaches now. Like Coach Duffield of Lake Highlands, he won state championship the year before us. He was on that team and watched the 94 team. So I hope that what we did, and because the energy in the room was just different this year. We had 8,000 spectators at the championship game and 4,000 at the third-round game, that it inspires kids to be basketball fanatics. And then, like, I know that what's always true in every situation is like hard work pays off, and that coaches need to be demanding, and the team is better than the individual. And so even though maybe we're running zone next year, those things will all be true. We may try to do it a different way, but those things will all be true. Coach needs to be demanding. He needs to inspire them. He needs to, like, when we reach our goal, set a higher goal and push them towards that other goal, individually and as a team, and really take pride in just believing that we outworked other people, and that when we show up to the game, we deserve to win because we did something other teams aren't willing to do in preparing for that game.
Excellent. And finally, Coach, probably saving the most important for last, you've been coaching long enough now that you've seen some kids change from kids to being parents, to being, employed, to being, to have gone on with their life. Talk about those relationships and the power of that. Yeah.
So, education, it's a roller coaster in terms of your days. Like, so some days are not enjoyable and you have like lows and you have disappointments. And then you have like the high points. Like, okay, this is why we're doing our job. And so my just the most rewarding moments, the best parts are really when you see when kids come back from college or come back to visit you at the school. Like that's better than winning a game. And I always love the end of December, early January games. They're usually district games where kids are back from college and during that break and they come and watch a few games and they always want to talk to you afterward. That's the best part. And so now I'm 42 years old and some of those kids are coaching now. And we're trying to set them up with spots in the program to give back where they played. And it's really the best part of coaching is those, you plant the seed and you water it, you cultivate the ground, and then you leave and someone else picks up and eventually it's their turn to give back later. And that's the best part.
I love it. Well, Coach Matt Westerl, thank you so much for sitting down with the Coach's Call, sharing some of your story, man.
Thanks for having me on. I enjoyed talking about my team.
The interviews in this show are brought to you by the Texas High School Coaches Association. THSCA provides to its more than 26,000 members access to the people, events, tools, and resources to help them thrive in the profession, become trusted leaders in their communities, and live balanced and successful lives. The work and sacrifice coaches do every day is vital to the development and success of student athletes. The THSCA supports these efforts. We fight for every coach, provide them with the connections and resources to improve their lives, and help all student athletes throughout the state enjoy lasting success. The mission statement is simply this: to help and serve Texas high school coaches as they work to help and serve student athletes. Helping coaches help kids. For more information on the THSCA, visit www.thsca.com. Hey, of course, I want to thank our guest, but I also want to thank you. I want to thank you for giving me what I consider the most valuable thing you can give, your time and your attention. And I know you don't do it to hear me. You hear it for the great messages provided by the THSCA. And hey, if you'd like to associate your company with the THSCA and the Coach's Call podcast, limited sponsorship opportunities are available. You can reach out to me, Chris Daly, 713-269-4620, or head over to my website, freshmediaworks.com. Once again, thank you so much for supporting Texas high school coaches. Please share this show out to everybody you can so that we can help share these important messages. Thanks again, and we'll catch you next time on The Coach's Call.